Hello children, welcome back to the second video of the chapter Glimpses of the Past, which is written by S.D. Sawant. In this chapter, we recall the story of freedom through pictures. It also explains the idea that led to the first war of independence in 1857. At a function in Delhi, Lata Mangeshkar sang the patriotic song, Mere Watan Ke Logo. She called upon the Indians to recall with tearful eyes the sacrifices of Indian freedom fighters. The English East India Company came to India for trade, but with its superior weapon of diplomacy, it extended its power in the 18th century. Indian princes were short-sighted. People in India had no peace due to constant fight among the states of the country. They sought the help of the English merchant to defeat one another. These rivalries helped the company to defeat and subdue Indian princes one by one. A far-sighted ruler like the brave Tipu Sultan of Mysore fought the British till he died fighting. Now, Indians reacted to the conquest made by the English company. Some of them thanked God as well as the British for restoring peace in the country and stopping looting. They said their destiny was linked with the English. But there were others who felt unhappy. They complained that the had killed or dethroned their kings. No doubt some kings were bad, but after all they were Indians. Under the white rulers, they had become slaves. Some religious leaders supported the social evils such as untouchability and child marriage. They forbade crossing the seas and going abroad. A few said that women were to blame for all the misery. The truth was that Indians had lost self-respect. The white hated and disbelieved them. The English were merchants first. Their aim was to make quick profit. They improved heavy taxes on the farmers. They sent many farmers to jail for failing to pay their tax arrears. They destroyed Indian cottage industries also in order to sell goods manufactured in England. They exempted all goods imported from England from duties. Thus, they ruined Indian artisans and their business. Children, after learning this from this chapter, let's proceed further. Now let's see the fourth part, Ram Mohan Roy. From 1772 to 1833, Ram Mohan Roy, a learned man from Bengal, understood what was wrong with the country. He was saying, "Let us not despise ourselves. Our ancient culture is great and we are capable of greater achievements. We must first reform our society. Superstitions have been ruining us." He told his wife Uma, "Cows are of different colors, but the color of their milk is the same. Different teachers have different opinions, but the essence of every religion is the same." He was attracted by science and modern knowledge. He says, knowledge should be practical and scientific. He crossed the seas and went to England to see what made the British powerful. There he told them, "We accept you as rulers and you must accept us as subjects. But you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subjects." He started newspapers, but the suspicious British stopped them in 1823. Children, so we have seen that then came Raja Ram Mohan Roy from Bengal, who understood the problems happening in the country, in the society. He preached everyone that all religions are same, all religions are equal, all are one. He treated to convince people not to follow those unreligious practices like child marriage, but he was more fascinated by the science, technology and knowledge. So he went to England and talked to the British people and tried to convince them that if they are ruling the country, they have to look after their subjects too. Slowly, he started his own newspaper through which he tried to communicate with the masses for freedom fighting, but the British came to know about it and they stopped his newspaper in 1823. The next one is Operation, that was from 1765 to 1835. But the British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818, they had passed Regulation 3. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. All the time, British officers in India drew big salaries and also made fortunes in private business. By 1829, Britain was exporting British goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. The British prospered on the company's loot while Indian industries began to die. Governor General Bentinck reported back home, "The bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India." Children, we have seen that operation period continued from 1765 to 1835. The British passed a resolution in 1818 under which an Indian could be arrested without any trials. The British officer received a huge salary, means a big salary, and drew a lot of amount from the business too. As a result, the Britain became richer and richer and the Indian industries started sinking. Governor General Bentinck wrote to the government in London about the pitiable condition of the Indian weavers. Now let's see the sixth one, that is dissatisfaction. It was from 1835 to 1856. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, an Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. We should teach the native the English language. I agree. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them, but incidentally, it also produced a new generation of intellectuals. We must educate our brothers and try to improve their material conditions. For that, we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament. By 1856, the British had conquered the whole of India. You can see through this map, the pink portion is ruled by the British. They care little about the Indian needs. Our kings have become puppets and we have lost our old jobs and lands. They are converting our brothers. You only talk. Do something to drive them out. In this section, we have seen that in 1835, Lord Macaulay suggested that the medium of education in India should be English. The proposal was carried and the aim was to produce an army of clerks to assist the British. It happened, but it also produced a new generation of intellectuals. Some of them tried to educate the masses. Some decided to convey the grievances of the people to the British Parliament. By 1856, the British were ruling the whole of India, as you have seen in map. The dissatisfaction in the public began to go and people wanted to get rid of the British. The next one is the Sparks. From 1855 to 1857, Texas continued to ruin the peasants in Bengal. The Santals, who had lost their lands under new land rules, became desperate. In 1855, they rose in rebellion and massacred European and their supporters alike. Discontent was brewing in the East India Company's army too. The white soldiers get huge pay, mansions to live in, servants, while we get a pittance and slow promotions. The Angrez ask us to cross the sea, which is against our religion. Who is this Topiwala to abolish our age-old customs? We must drive out the Angrez. Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of his regiment and was executed. Thousands of other sepoys revolted. They were stripped of their uniforms, humiliated and put in irons. Few Englishmen had cared to understand Indian customs or the people's mind. Oh, proud Brahman soldiers, do you know that the crease on the bullet you have to bite is made from the fat of cows and pigs? What? The white man has deceived us too. Soon chapatis were sent from village to village to tell the people that their emperor would want their services. Yes, all my village men will be ready. Similarly, lotus flowers circulated among Indian soldiers. Death to the foreigner. The masses gave all help and shelter to the patriots. By reading this, we came to know that under the new rules, Santals had become desperate. In 1855, they rose in rebellion and killed the Europeans and their servants alike. The discontent was brewing in the East India Company's army too. Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of his regiment and he was executed. The English did not care about Indian customs. Chapatis were sent from village to village. With them was the message that their native emperor would want their services. Similarly, a lotus flower was circulated among Indian soldiers. The masses also gave all help and support. The eighth one is revolt, that was in 1857. Then there was a violent outbreak at Meerut. The sepoys marched to Delhi. Long live our Emperor Bahadur Shah. The rebellion spread wider. Many landlords had lost their lands because of the British policies and they were sore. The white man's rule must end. Yes, we will help you. We have seen the revolt started at Meerut. The sepoys who had revolted marched to Delhi. They were shouting slogans in favor of Bahadur Shah Jafar. The rebellion spread wider. Many landlords had lost their lands and they had the revolt. Children, the last and the ninth one is the fight for freedom, which was held in 1857. Many former rulers like Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow were bitter. The white man has taken away my kingdom. They joined the upsurge against the foreigners. Popular leaders like Maulvi Ahmadullah of Faizabad told the people, "Rise, brothers, rise. The Angrez is ruining our land." The people rose everywhere in Bareilly, Kanpur and Allahabad. Azimullah Khan told Tatya Tope, "We should have Peshwa Nana Sahib as our leader in this war of independence." The patriots pounced upon the British and fought pitched battles all over North India. 80-year-old Kunwar Singh of Bihar received a bullet in his wrist. Mother Ganga, this is my last offering to you. So children, we have seen the fight for freedom that was in 1857. Many rulers like Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow were bitter. The English had taken away their kingdom. Popular leaders like Maulvi Ahmadullah of Faizabad urged the common man to revolt. Azimullah Khan told Tatya Tope to make Nana Sahib the leader of that war of independence. All over North India, the people fought pitched battles against the British. 80-year-old Kunwar Singh of Bihar received a bullet in his wrist. He just cut it off, throwing it into the Ganga. He said that it was his last offering. Children, that's all in this chapter. Hope you understood something about your India's past and may have learned some lessons for the future, because the future of India is in your hands, isn't it? Hoping for the bright future, I conclude this chapter. Thank you. Take care.